The invention of gunpowder, a detailed overview. Gunpowder is one of the most revolutionary inventions in human history, fundamentally altering the course of warfare, exploration, and technological development. Its origins can be traced back to ancient China, where it was discovered during the Tang Dynasty, 618–907 AD. What began as an accidental byproduct of alchemical experiments quickly evolved into a tool that changed military strategies and geopolitical power across the globe. Origins of gunpowder. Gunpowder was invented in China, largely as a result of alchemist attempts to create elixirs of immortality. During the Tang Dynasty, Chinese alchemists combined various substances, including sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, saltpeter, in their experiments. It is believed that the explosive potential of these ingredients was discovered by accident in the 9th century. The first mention of a substance resembling gunpowder appears in a Taoist text from 850 AD, where it is referred to as a highly flammable mixture. Initially, gunpowder was not intended as a weapon. Instead, it was used in ceremonial and religious activities, such as fireworks, which were designed to ward off evil spirits. Over time, however, its explosive capabilities were harnessed for more practical and military purposes. Early military applications in China. By the Song Dynasty, 960–1279 AD, Chinese military strategists began to recognize the potential of gunpowder for warfare. One of the first recorded uses of gunpowder in a military context was the development of fire arrows, which were arrows tipped with small packets of gunpowder. When ignited, these arrows would create small explosions on impact. This was a significant development, marking one of the earliest known uses of gunpowder in combat. As the military value of gunpowder became clearer, Chinese inventors created more advanced weaponry, including bombs, grenades, and even primitive forms of cannons. By the 12th century, the Chinese had developed the huo pao, a kind of fire lance, which was essentially a bamboo tube filled with gunpowder that could fire projectiles. The Mongol invasion of China in the 13th century further spurred the development of gunpowder-based weapons. The need for effective defense against the Mongol army led to the creation of larger and more powerful gunpowder weapons, including early versions of cannons and bombs. The Mongols, in turn, helped spread knowledge of gunpowder across Asia and into Europe as they expanded their empire. Spread of gunpowder to the Middle East and Europe. The spread of gunpowder beyond China occurred through two primary routes: the Silk Road and the Mongol Empire. As Chinese merchants and travelers interacted with other civilizations, knowledge of gunpowder slowly began to disseminate. However, the Mongol conquests in the 13th century were instrumental in accelerating this process. As the Mongols moved westward, they carried with them knowledge of Chinese gunpowder weaponry, introducing it to the Middle East and Europe. By the 13th century, gunpowder had made its way to the Islamic world, where it was further refined and adapted for military use. The Muslim empires of the time, such as the Ottoman Empire, adopted gunpowder technology to enhance their military capabilities, particularly in the form of cannons and firearms. The Ottomans would go on to use gunpowder weapons to great effect, most famously in their successful siege of Constantinople in 1453. In Europe, gunpowder arrived in the late 13th or early 14th century, initially used in rudimentary cannons. The earliest European gunpowder weapons were quite primitive and unreliable, but over time, European states began to improve upon the technology. By the 15th century, the use of gunpowder weapons had become widespread in European warfare, with cannons being a key factor in many military victories. Development of firearms and cannons. As gunpowder technology spread and developed, the design of firearms and cannons became more sophisticated. In China, early cannons were made from bamboo and other materials, but over time, they were replaced by metal versions that were more durable and powerful. These cannons were used both defensively, in fortifications, and offensively, in field battles and sieges. In Europe, the development of the cannon played a crucial role in the transformation of warfare during the late Middle Ages. Cannons were used to break through castle walls and other fortifications, making them a decisive weapon in many conflicts. The Hundred Years' War between England and France, 1337 to 1453, saw the extensive use of cannons, particularly in the latter stages of the war. By the time of the Renaissance, gunpowder weapons were a key feature of European armies. The invention of the musket, a more portable firearm, further revolutionized warfare. Muskets allowed soldiers to fire projectiles at long range with more accuracy and power than bows and arrows. The widespread use of muskets in the 16th and 17th centuries rendered traditional melee combat and armor obsolete. Armies began to rely on gunpowder weapons for both offense and defense, and battle strategies were transformed accordingly. Global impact of gunpowder. The invention and spread of gunpowder had profound global consequences, reshaping societies and empires. Militarily, it changed the nature of warfare, making large-scale battles more destructive and leading to the decline of feudal systems that relied on knights and castles. Gunpowder weapons allowed for the rise of more centralized states with professional armies, leading to the establishment of powerful empires such as the Ottoman, Mughal, and European colonial empires. In addition to its impact on warfare, gunpowder also played a role in exploration and expansion. European explorers and colonizers used gunpowder weapons to conquer and subdue indigenous populations in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The superior firepower of European armies enabled them to establish colonies and trade routes around the world, profoundly influencing global history. Culturally, the use of gunpowder in fireworks and other displays became a symbol of celebration and power. Fireworks, originally developed in China for religious ceremonies, became popular in Europe and other parts of the world as symbols of grandeur and spectacle. Conclusion: gunpowder's lasting legacy. The invention of gunpowder stands as one of the most transformative developments in human history. What began as an accidental discovery in China eventually revolutionized warfare, exploration, and global power structures. Gunpowder weapons enabled the rise of modern nation-states, facilitated European colonization, and reshaped military strategies. Today, the legacy of gunpowder is still evident in the continued evolution of firearms and explosives, which remain central to military and industrial applications worldwide. In the centuries since its invention, gunpowder has left an indelible mark on global history, altering the course of human development in ways that are still felt today.